How to get on the shortlist for C-suite positions. The truth is, the path narrows significantly from middle management onward as you move up the organizational structure. Having had 2 vice president positions at the largest Swedish companies by market cap and have helped many clients achieve similar goals, I can say that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. However, there are some fundamental strategies you can use to increase your chances. And in this video, I'll share the key factors for getting on a short list for C-suite positions. Let's get into it. Number 1 is the timing and your readiness. Typically, if you are targeting an internal C-suite position and the current leader is performing, well-liked, still in their prime time, only a couple of years into their tenure, you are likely to be waiting for a very long time. However, let's not generalize things. I will share a story here of a CFO that I personally worked with. He was an FP&A director and he has been with the company for about 20 years. He had really solid track records, having developed himself across 3 different regions and 2 main business units inside the company. He was very well liked by our colleagues. When he was appointed as the CFO, many colleagues who were waiting for that position felt really disappointed. They thought that they wouldn't have a chance for at least another 4 to 5 years. When he started CFO role, we were at the beginning of a major downturn. We were facing strong competition, price war, low profitability, and we were struggling to localize global solutions and products for the local markets. The challenges the CFO needed to deal with are well beyond just cash flow management, financial forecasting, or risk management. We had complex stakeholder interactions, particularly with various boards, not only from the global headquarters, but also joint venture boards. And because of our performance issue, we were talking with the boards more frequent. I sat with him during several board business review meetings, and I realized that he struggled to handle the board and get their confidence in our ability to overcome the challenges. When the board asked tough questions to us, especially the president, the CFO was not able to back him up proactively. He even come across as relieved when his questions were answered, but he was not stepping up and support the full management team. Clearly, he was not demonstrating leadership and authority, and he was not comfortable at that table. With the pressure from the president, the board, and daily operational issues, only after 4 months, the CFO burned out. And at the time of his promotion, we hired another FP&A director to replace his previous role. This was a lateral move for her since she came from another business unit and had similar jobs before. She stepped up during the CFO's sick leave, and within just weeks, she was in the board business review with us. She was just brilliant. A couple of months in, she was officially appointed as the CFO. From the time she was hired as FP&A director to the time she became a CFO was just 6 months. The point is, it is not always black and white. If someone is in the position you'd like to have, it does not mean that you have to wait a long time. You will need to read the context of the organization and at the same time, always be prepared for when it is your turn. Back to the example I just shared, the FP&A director was well prepared from the very beginning. She was ready. As soon as there was just one opportunity, she took it to show her competence, leadership, experience, influence, and her authority. On the other hand, nowadays, there's more transparency in succession planning and career management for senior executives as well. This has become easier with now well-established talent management process, leadership training, mentorship program, and an increasing number of leaders who now value and understand how to give constructive feedbacks. You cannot control someone else's succession, but you can definitely plan your career strategically. You only decide whether you should wait, how long you are willing to wait, and understand the context of your organization, the competence required for the position you want. And it's not just about the competence that are listed in the job description. As you see from the early example I shared, our CFO who burned out had everything outlined in the job description, but it was the soft skill, the ones that are not clearly written in the job description that he needed to master. Next is organizational impact, not just functional performance. Competition for the top slots is intense. Have a clear leadership brand and promote it throughout your job application. That means you need to clearly articulate your leadership brand, how it aligns with the needs of the company and the team. Now, are you a disruptive leader? Are you okay with making people uncomfortable in order to drive transformational change to get your company to the next level? Or are you a turnaround leader? Are you able to fix things that are broken and turn around a function that was underperforming? Or are you a stabilizer leader? Do you understand what was already working in the business and you are able to leverage the momentum for future growth? Let me add one important note here because I've seen so many people making these mistakes, is that getting on the C-suite shortlist requires you to have demonstrated impact on the entire company, not just your function. What do I mean? If you work in supply chain, what you need to demonstrate is not just your results in cost reduction, supplier relationships, or operational excellence. You will need to demonstrate your impact on an organizational level, not just on a functional level. Next, promotion to the top is not about what you know and who you know, but who knows you. Before I was promoted to the vice president role, I spent 8 years in director positions and in total about 10 years in middle management. During this time, I worked really hard to deliver and perform. After all, this was how I got to the middle management positions. When the performance review came around, I was always, according to my manager, exceed expectations. But year after year, I was not promoted. I became frustrated and finally, I asked him why. And this was what he said. There's no question about your performance. In fact, you are like my delivery guy. Every time I open the door, your delivery is there. You are very productive, very well respected by your team, and you consistently bring results. But to be considered seriously for a more senior role, you need to gain the support of more people in the company, especially influential leaders who can speak to your work and advocate for you when you are not in the room. My voice alone is not enough to get you into these executive positions. You need a network of champions. That was the secret ingredient that many of us miss when we lose out on opportunities. Many of us spend our time performing, improving, and delivering even more. This approach works in the early and mid stage of our career. However, as we reach to the top, the game changed. The higher we climb, the more we need people in senior roles to support us and advocate for us. In a perfect world, performance and working hard alone is just enough. It's like the days when we were at school, where we get higher scores, we would get higher rewards and higher recognitions. Unfortunately, this is not always how it works in the corporate world. There are 3 stages in advancing your career. In the early stages of your career within an organization, it's about what you know. Success in this stage is mainly determined by your ability to handle projects and tasks that you're responsible for. You are evaluated and promoted based on your ability to deliver on time, on budget. You follow established process and you execute plans and strategies. During this stage, promotions can happen based on your performance. Stage 2 is who you know. This stage is all about expanding your network and building your relationship with people at all levels and across various teams within your organization. You will get an understanding of how organization functions as a whole and how different business units and business areas operate and how your team fits into the bigger picture. The tipping point comes after you have gained experience as a manager or team leader and have become well-rounded in your subject matter. At this point, you probably feel you are ready to lead a larger team, a function, a region, or a business unit. And this is when excelling at what you know and who you know is not going to be enough anymore. You need a bigger leap to reach the level of who knows you. You need sponsors. These are influential leaders who are willing to put their political capital and trust in you when you need it. Your sponsors can be the decision maker themselves as well. These who have the power to determine the promotion, or they could also be the influential leaders that these decision makers listen to. The most important advocate or supporter is the head of your business. That could be the CEO, the president, or the skip level manager. Reason number 1 is if you want the GM job, the person who will be making that decision is not your manager, the GM, but the manager of the GM, probably the business unit president or the CEO. Your manager, of course, is important to support your development and advocate for you, but your strategy should always extend beyond just your manager. Your manager has their own priorities, and yes, a good boss always wants to see their team members excel, but they are also likely to be focused on their own agenda. I have seen so many situations where a manager moved into a new role or was replaced, leaving their direct reports feeling devastated. This happened because they didn't have close connections with other people in power in the organization. All the approvals, acknowledgements, and promises made under previous manager now are gone, especially regarding promotions and new career opportunities. You don't want to find yourself in a scenario where your manager leaves the company or moves to a different division, now leaving you without strong sponsorship from key stakeholders in your company. There are also situations where your manager may not always be well liked, and others probably find them difficult to get along with. Do you really want to be associated with the same perception just because you report to that person? Skip-level relationships and meetings are an important management tool, and you should not see it as negative or as going over your boss's head. I actually made an entire video explaining how it works and how to set up skip-level meetings. The next point is the breadth and depth of your experience. You will need to go above and beyond your functional role and gain broader experience, not just operational, but also strategic level. One way to achieve this and build your credibility is to rotate around the organization, different business units, regions, functions. This will give you a balanced experience, and also this serves as a pressure test because it demonstrates your ability to achieve success and manage stakeholders in various environment and business cycles. During my career advancement journey, this was a criteria I put for myself. I worked across various business units in the group and in 3 levels of the organization: a market, a sales region, and global headquarters. When you have these experiences on your profile, you are definitely more prepared for top positions because of your depth and breadth of proof that you have succeeded across multiple business units, geolocations, and you've learned through all business cycles, and you have a holistic business understanding, not only from one region or one function, one business, but comprehensively. I have seen this from managers I worked for from a quite early stage. I have seen that almost all the executives in our organization have these profiles, and I was very intentional in choosing leaders who have these diversified experience themselves so that they would be fully invested in supporting me and sponsoring me to pursue a similar career planning. Of course, there are some executives who have only worked and succeeded in one function and one location, and I worked for some of them as well. They're very kind and nice to work for, but it comes with limitations on their own career development and how they could advocate and sponsor their direct reports in pursuing something more diversified than their own career journey. So choose wisely the leader you want to work for, as it is even more important than what you work at. That's a separate topic. Now let me know if you would like me to expand on it. Leave it in the comment area below. The next part is culture. If you are promoted from within, it's probably less of a problem, but this is especially important if you have developed in one organization for the last 1 or 2 decades, and now you are ready to take a C-suite position in a different organization. Then this is something you need to watch out for, because most companies have a very distinctive culture. I'll share a story of a sales director. He developed and has been very successful in a complex and large organization. In this organization, consensus and alignment are crucial for decision making. Then he became a general manager for a disruptive medium-sized organization where they value speed, they have a fail-fast culture, and they value customer feedbacks much more than the shareholder value. Before he joined a medium-sized organization and became the GM, he thought he would enjoy the challenges, the speed, the decision-making power, and ownership that he didn't have in his former organization. However, having worked for 17 years in one organization, the culture shock was real. He didn't have years to adapt to it either. He needed to deliver immediately. He struggled because he graduated from a different school. His former organization is well structured. Every role is well defined. There are guidelines and processes for the majority of the questions he has. When you have a need outside of a job description, there's always a department you can find somehow responsible for it. He ended up leaving the organization altogether because of this culture clash, and eventually he returned to his former organization to take a director job similar to the one he had before. So it's always important to assess the culture element early on. And there are more elements which can get you from middle management to senior executive positions. And I put together a 1-hour training, which now you can have for free. If you want to learn how I achieved vice president positions for 2 large Swedish companies in under 2 years, I encourage you to watch this free training. You'll get the steps I took to advance from middle management to top leadership positions by the age of 36. It's completely free. You can sign up at inspiremyday.org/masterclass or find the link in the description below. Before I go, I'll leave you with this video to learn how to have a successful skip level meeting. I'll see you there.